Today I am reviewing the AirPods Pro with a wireless charging case. Most people don't realize that you can only buy this with the wireless charging case, but, well, let's just get started on the review. My name is Matt and this is Real World Review, and these are the AirPods Pro, and they're actually good. Just like the normal AirPods, the Pros are white, shiny, and come with a case that scratches very easily. Most of these scratches were noticeable 11 hours after unboxing these pods, which kind of sucks. These technically don't sound that good, but at the same time they do. These little silicone tips cause a small seal in the ear to insulate some of the noise, but at the same time they don't really cause too much ear fatigue, just like most earbuds with silicone tips. At the same time, the noise insulation is very minimal, which is why Apple included active noise cancellation. Really, it sounds like normal noise cancellation you find in normal over-the-ear headphones, but in this case they are in the truly wireless earbuds form. The noise cancelling isn't really the best, but it is really good for the design that they come in. Don't believe what others say, you can still feel some of the pressure with the noise cancellation turned on, even though they have a vent system, but after a while that feeling kind of goes away. Really, it sounds like normal noise cancellation, but there's something awesome about getting that in an earbud style. As for the quality of music, it is slightly better than regular AirPods, but I noticed that certain frequencies at the low end just don't really sound that good, and it kind of sounds like bouncing a flat basketball. It's almost like the speaker is kind of stiff. The rest of the sound is fine, but that's just something that I noticed. After a while, you kind of forget that it's happening, but I mainly notice them when I'm first putting them in my ears. Not sure what the adaptive EQ is, because it basically reacts to whatever EQ you have set up on your phone, but Apple says that it has that, so. There are multiple microphones in this whole set, including in the case for some reason, allowing the best performance when using these to talk, but also for transparency mode. This is way better than the blend mode in the terrible human headphones. There's no feedback ever, trust me, I've tried, and it allows you to have the same old AirPods experience of hearing the world and the music at the same time, as long as you have it set to a lower volume. As for Bluetooth connectivity issues, expect this on Android at times, but with an iPhone, the H1 chip allows you to listen with very little latency, and I never experienced a drop in connection. This is normally what I would say, but I did have a few situations where the audio quality would drop just a little bit for a second, and then it would slowly go back to normal. And yes, my Spotify settings are set to high, that wasn't the issue, it just happened. And when using these with Android phones, they worked fine, but for some reason on my OnePlus 7 Pro, the volume was about half of what it really said on the phone. It made it impossible for me to use it on my OnePlus 7 Pro, so Android users should beware, but your mileage may vary. But to sum up the quality section, I believe that Apple did a really good job on designing these, even though they are pretty much the same thing as the old ones, and they kind of look like a certain plant that doesn't like zombies. Battery life is not bad, and it now varies depending on how you use them. So Apple claims about 5 hours of battery life per charge, which seems about right, and with the case you should be able to get 24 hours, which doesn't seem right. I was getting about 15 to 16 hours of battery life, which is not terrible, but it isn't the full day that Apple is claiming. Apple claims 5 minutes of charging will give you about 1 hour of talk time on these buds, which seems reasonable because I left them in the charging case for about 15 minutes and they charged about 40%. The interesting thing is that if you have noise cancellation or transparency mode on, you will get about 4.5 hours out of these buds, which isn't that bad and is most likely what you're going to be using them for anyway. As for charging, these come with a USB-C to Lightning cable, which is cool to me, but it kind of sucks for those people that haven't USB-C'd everything yet. This case does support wireless charging, which is pretty awesome, and it charges really fast, even though it only supports 5 watts of charging, whether we're talking about wired or wireless. Another thing to think about is that the battery in this case is only 519 milliamps, so it doesn't really need that much power. Realistically, this is why you buy these headphones. I'm not a fan of the price point compared to the performance of these buds, but there's nothing out there that has a similar convenience factor to earbuds made by Apple. And it makes sense because the convenience factor really only applies to devices made by Apple, not Android. You get this familiar animation when you open up the case, and it lets you know the charge level of the buds and the case. And this same pop-up appears when you want to pair them with a new device. All you gotta do is just hold the button on the back. Like I said, this case has wireless charging, so you just slap it on the charger and charge the case without thinking twice. But we still don't have a way to charge the phone, watch, and AirPods at the same time. Lint buildup is an issue with these earbuds, as you would expect with white buds, especially now that they have white ear tips. Sometimes this can be difficult to clean. This case does seem a little bit bulky, but it's actually pretty similar to normal AirPod cases, so you shouldn't really have to worry too much about that. The buds are still pretty light and actually smaller, so they don't hurt too much when you put them in your ears, but after a couple hours my ears did start to hurt. If they're uncomfortable, there are 3 types of tip sizes, along with software features to make sure that you're having the right tips on, according to Apple at least. I say according to Apple because it's not as accurate as advertised, because I seem to have the perfect fit regardless of what tips I use. I do have to say the pressure sensor is probably my favorite way to control music in different modes, giving you a low clicking noise to let you know what you did. The controls are super easy to get used to, and it's very difficult to accidentally pause or skip songs like the old ones. And if you don't want to use the controls to pause your music, remember you can simply remove one and it'll pause the music for you, and putting it back in will press play. I gotta say, I wish more earbuds had this feature. These buds are also IPX4 water and sweat resistant, but none of that really matters because you can't put them underwater or swim with them. Remember, you need IPX7 or IPX8 in order to take them underwater. Even then, I still don't recommend that. These just keep going up and have now settled at $249 US, which is pretty expensive. Realistically, you're paying maybe an extra $100 or so for the convenience factor, but they aren't that expensive when you compare them to normal AirPods. Sure, the base price is $159 without the wireless charging case, and with the wireless charging case, it's $199. So an extra $50 for a more superior listening experience and less annoying look is worth it, to me at least. Still, these are more expensive, and there are other earbuds that are cheaper and do a very similar job but clearly lack the convenience of AirPods, along with the idea that you're rich if you have AirPods. Of course, that last part was a joke, but also I feel like I was looked at a lot more when I had the normal AirPods in. With these, they are so small and less in your face, so maybe the negative views of AirPod users will kind of go away. Either that or no one really knows what the new ones actually look like. And that's all I wanted to talk about. I was actually surprised that I like these, even with the poor performance I was getting in the beginning. With this said, there's no way I'm going to actually keep these at the $249 price point. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below or on Twitter at MattofRDBR, and feel free to follow me on the social media listed above. Subscribe to my channel so you can see other review and repair videos, and hit the bell button so then YouTube actually reminds you when those videos do come out. Thanks for watching.